I wanted something big and simple to put in the middle of my table for Purim, and so I created this beautiful centerpiece. Now, obviously, you can customize it for any holiday, and I'm going to show you how to make it specifically how I did and the color scheme that I did, but there are so many ways you can do it. Starting with, as you can see, I cut my mask for my Cricut. Now, part of that was because I just had the supplies and I didn't feel like going out and buying masks, but of course, you can use any masquerade mask that you find. I cut mine from this metallic pink poster board. I don't know if that was the best decision. I do kind of wish I would have gone with something a little more neutral that went with the rest of the centerpiece, but that's just what I chose at the moment and I stuck with it. So you can, like I said, buy masquerade masks for this, but if you'd like, you can also cut it from your Cricut. So go ahead and cut those masks from poster board or purchase masks. And what I did was I did 3 in 3 different sizes. I actually cut more and then I ended up using the 3 largest one. I just did whatever I could fit on that paper. I might do something else with the extra masks. We'll see. When you're done, you're going to gently peel the masks off of the backing. It actually works out better if you flip your mat upside down and peel the mat away from the centerpiece. And you have your masks prepared. Put those aside. We're going to use those again at the end. All right, now take your hula hoop. And most hula hoops have this connector piece where if you open it, you can empty it out and you don't have to cut the hula hoop. If your hula hoop happens to be one piece, just slice it. Mine, I believe, is an 18-inch hoop. It's not very big. Next, take a floral foam block. You want it to be a decent size, about the size of a brick, and paint it with a heavy, thick layer of Mod Podge. Now, this seems redundant, but it's very important because you normally can't really paint on a floral foam block, but you need to kind of like prime it first. So this is serving as a primer, and you're doing a thick layer, being careful not to work it too much because then it'll start crumbling. And just slap that stuff on, and you're going to need to let that dry completely before you can paint it. So meanwhile, we're going to spray paint our hula hoop. Obviously, put it in a protected area and spray paint it in a few layers. You're better off doing a few thinner layers and letting it dry in between. I painted mine a matte gold, which I was very happy with. And paint it on every side and every corner. Any place you want to show should be spray painted, meaning every single place besides for the very, very end is going to show. So you're going to spray paint that thoroughly in a few layers, allowing for minimal dry time in between. And by minimal, I mean that it does not need to be like dry enough to use. It just has to be dry enough that you can put another layer and it won't drip. But again, you don't want it to be too thick because then it's just going to take forever to dry thoroughly. Now back to our floral foam block. Yes, this is the one we painted with Mod Podge. It absorbed and served as a primer. So as you can see, we're painting it with gold acrylic paint. Now, even though you primed it, you're going to need to put on the paint pretty thick. Keep in mind that a floral foam block is designed to absorb a lot of water so that it could feed it to the flowers. You can use a regular foam block. I like the solid surface of this one, which is why I used it. So we're using a generous amount of paint again. And you'll notice if there was a spot that you missed, you'll still be able to work around it. But if there's a spot that you missed with the Mod Podge, like in the corners and stuff, you will notice it. And just paint these as thoroughly and as well as you can. And allow that to dry completely. Now, again, you can see that mine has a little bit of texture. And I kind of like how that looked with that little bit of, grainy texture that feels almost like a finish, like an intentional finish. But also when you see these types of centerpieces from far, the exact details don't really need to matter. And even though people might be sitting at the table and seeing it closer up, it really will still look very nice. So when you're done painting, go ahead and let that dry completely and let your hula hoop dry completely. And when you're done, you are ready to assemble the different parts. So now we are going to connect the hula hoop to the foam block. Now to do this, you're going to first start by sort of marking your spot with the open hula hoop on each side. It does not have to be perfectly centered. You do want to make sure that it will be balanced and will sit right. Once I marked my spot, I then went and one side at a time, I jabbed it into roughly that spot, making sure that it stands straight. Notice it's going in at an angle, which is why I first marked it and then actually put it in permanently. Now, again, this is not really actually permanent because I did not fix it in place. I just jammed it and it held very well. And again, if you use a hula hoop that's too big, it might not be as balanced as you want it to be, but just put that in and it should work out fabulously. Next, we're taking straws. I used paper straws in metallic. I was considering using this gold because it went with the other gold, but it was too bright. So I went with the softer matte of the iridescent silver. And I took white ostrich feathers. Now, the thing with ostrich feathers is you'll always see them staged beautifully, and they're so soft and amazing, but they don't quite stand the way you expect them to from the staging. So my little trick is that I simply put them into straws, and the straws serve as stands for them. So just do that with a nice bouquet, however many you feel is right. I think I used about 10 or 12. Now we're going to set this up directly on the table. So we just put the centerpiece on the table, and as you can see, I attached the masks already. Now I attached them temporarily. They will be removed next time I want to use the framework as a centerpiece. Now put on the vase on the base. It should be quite stable. And then you're going to put your bouquet of feathers in the middle. And look how gorgeous that is. You can swap out the center. You can swap out the decorations around the edges. You can use this as a template for centerpieces for any other occasion. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up so that I can know to make more like this. Comment if you have any questions, and check out the link to the full blog post for the list of materials and for a printable version of this craft. And don't forget to subscribe as a free way that you can support the work that I do, creating free craft tutorials like this one, and to show me that you liked it and to see more like this.